Your mother dumped the eggs in a shallow scrape on the jungle floor and wandered off to lay someone else's mistakes next. It's barely different from pooping, and she treats it with about the same level of emotional investment. Your egg is buried under a thin pile of dirt and dead leaves. No walls. No real nest. Just gravity and camouflage praying the predators are either lazy or distracted. Your father guards you. By guards, we mean he sits motionless, fasting himself into a skeleton while snakes, pigs, and bored jungle rats try to dig you up for snacks. Meanwhile, the weather tries to kill you from both sides, boiling you under midday heat or flooding you out with tropical storms. And if you're really lucky, a human will find the nest, steal your egg, and sell you on the black market for roughly the price of a used lawnmower. Poor that sibling of yours, now living as the pet dinosaur for someone who thinks Jurassic Park was a documentary. You're not even alive yet, and you're already one bad Tuesday away from becoming omelet filler, backyard decoration, or a TikTok prop. If you somehow survive 50 days of starvation, snakes, storms, and souvenir hunters, you break out of the shell using a tiny, useless tooth you'll lose within days. Your camouflage is decent, brown stripes, messy feathers, but it's still rainforest camouflage, which mostly means you look like a confused leaf pile having an existential crisis. It would almost be clever if you weren't wobbling around like a drunken chicken nugget. Your dad is still here, still starving, still stressed. He leads you through the forest, teaching you how to find food, how to hide, and how to run from everything larger than you, which, at this point, is everything. Running is technically your best skill, but in reality, you sprint full speed into trees, trip over vines, and occasionally fall into puddles shallow enough to drown in. Sometimes you run toward cover. Sometimes you run directly into something's open mouth. Meanwhile, snakes, hawks, feral pigs, and bored dogs line up for the all-you-can-eat toddler buffet. Your dad does his best, dragging you to bugs, snails, and tiny fruits, all while trying not to collapse from exhaustion. If he dies, from injury, hunger, or just bad luck, you won't even make it to your second screaming session. You were born a dinosaur.
Hello?
But right now, you're basically a small, noisy salad with legs. After spoon-feeding you for nearly a year, or up to 18 months if you were particularly useless, your father finally kicks you out. Maybe because you're old enough. Maybe because he needs a new girlfriend. Priorities. You're bigger now, and also easier to spot. Your camouflage fades. The nice brown stripes that once hid you turn into plain, boring brown feathers. Congratulations. You're now visible, slow, and still taste like free protein. You're too small to win a fight, too loud to avoid one, and too stubborn to pick battles you can survive. You start growing the weapon you'll depend on for the rest of your miserable life. A dagger claw longer than a steak knife. Your kick could gut a wild dog. Unfortunately, you have no idea how to aim it. You're best at kicking your own shadow. You can sprint at 20 miles per hour, straight into trees, swamps, and sometimes cliffs. You can't climb. You can't fly. And you have the self-preservation instincts of a lawn dart. Predators still hunt you. Older cassowaries beat you up for existing. And humans? Now you're too big to steal, but just the right size for target practice. You wander the rainforest alone, learning how not to starve, how not to get killed, and how not to lose a fistfight with a tree kangaroo. Your dad is long gone by now. There are no lessons, no mentors, just trial, error, and bruises. You eat whatever you can find, fallen fruit, mushrooms, bugs. If it's colorful and doesn't bite first, it's dinner. You are, biologically speaking, a fast-moving cautionary tale, built like a velociraptor, powered entirely by bad decisions. After 3 to 4 years of sprinting into trees, you somehow reach adulthood. You're over 6 feet tall now, weigh as much as a motorcycle, and your entire muscle system is wired for violence. Your legs are strong enough to disembowel a cow. Your claws are 5 inches long, basically kitchen knives attached to regret. You can sprint around 30 miles per hour. It's really impressive. Your skull evolved a helmet, not to protect you, but mostly to headbutt foliage and pretend it was tactical. You're officially a top-tier threat. To other cassowaries. To dogs. To hikers who can't read warning signs fast enough. Unfortunately, being deadly doesn't make you invincible. The rainforest is shrinking. Your food gets raided by feral pigs. Every meal now involves dodging speeding trucks that don't brake for weird dinosaur chicken crossing the road. Farmers see you as a menace and build fences specifically designed to ruin your day. You spend your time stomping through the undergrowth, chasing fallen fruit, hissing at shadows, and rethinking your life choices. Occasionally, a human spots you, and because they're bored, drunk, or think TikTok needs another hospital visit video, they approach. You respond by lowering your head, hissing, and kicking hard enough to puncture body armor. Then you sprint away, straight into a thorn bush. Because of course you do. Mating season doesn't make life better. Finding a female means entering another cassowary's territory, which usually ends in sprinting, kicking, or both. Breeding season means briefly tolerating another cassowary's existence, long enough for the female to lay eggs, insult you emotionally, and leave you holding the bag. Literally, it's déjà vu. You remember your own father starving on a pile of damp leaves, and realize you're just as dumb. You sit there for 2 months, fasting yourself into a skeleton, protecting eggs you're 90% sure will disappoint you. Then comes the next stage, the worst year of your life. But this time, you're playing the protector. You teach your kids to hunt, to sprint, to avoid predators, to hiss at anything that looks at them funny. You feel proud, right up until you start counting fewer and fewer chicks each morning. Eventually, 1 or 2 might survive. Sometimes, none. You survive a few more breeding seasons. You lose a few more chicks. You take a few more bad kicks to the ribs. And then it starts. Your legs, once your best weapon, ache with every sprint. You can still kick, but it's slower now. Sloppier. Your cask keeps growing, making you top-heavy and harder to balance. You trip more often. You recover slower. Meanwhile, the rainforest doesn't care. The food gets scarcer. The roads slice deeper into the jungle. Some days you wander for miles, finding nothing but dust, old tracks, and the vague scent of your own failure. You try to defend your shrinking territory, but younger cassowaries shove you off it without even breaking a sweat. You hiss. You posture. They laugh. You lose. If you're lucky, you die dramatically, in a crocodile ambush, or a heroic last stand against a pack of dogs. Something worthy of your dinosaur heritage. If you're unlucky, you die stupid, trapped in a fence, hit by a truck, or starving 20 feet away from a fruit tree you couldn't reach. Either way, the jungle barely notices. The world doesn't pause. You rot anonymously among the same leaves you once marched through proudly. Maybe you just melt into the ground. Your story ends the same way it began, confused, stubborn, and alone.